mirror here. Okay, so this is gonna be officially the last video you're gonna see with this gorgeous bookshelf, because that is being dismantled today. It's getting packed into boxes. I do not want to leave any of these books behind, so they're gonna have to go away into boxes. So, yeah, next video you're probably just gonna see an empty bookcase. It's very sad. Anyway, so this video is going to be books I've read this year. It's not going to be book favorites because I've not read enough books. I've read too much fanfiction. And I am not going into that wormhole of doing a video of best fanfiction I read this year because I read over 1,000, I'm pretty sure. I am not going to go into that. Okay, so books I've read this year. Now, first, I'm going to show you, I have Clockwork Angel. This is not finished, but technically I did read this year. I'm almost halfway through. I am really enjoying it. It's just, I haven't been able to do my marathon reading with it yet. I probably am soon because, as you can imagine, when you're almost halfway through a book, it's really picking up and getting intense. So probably when I do my next sit down, it's going to be a marathon until I finish. At least I hope, because that's how I prefer to read books, all at once, not in little tiny bites. I keep rewatching my vlogs to remind myself what happened, because I don't like this. Okay, so I read that one. This was the one book I wish I didn't read this year, because I did not enjoy it, and I'm not reading the sequels, despite the fact I own them, because I immediately went out and bought them after finishing this, because I didn't like the ending. And now I don't like the names of the other ones, and I'm convinced I'm going to get annoyed. And one of my booktubers said she ends up with the wrong person, and if it's the person I think it is, I'm going to be mad. So, yes. And that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I read this because my dad really, really wanted to watch the movie with me, because he really enjoys it. And I'm like, no, the book is always better, I've got to read the book first. And I put it off, and eventually I got the book. I should have recorded me reading that, because I did read this in one sitting, but there were breakups in the middle where I ranted at my dad over what the characters were doing. Good. I did not enjoy this. She is judgmental, she won't talk to people, she won't... It's just a huge kerfuffle, and a lot of people like the pretend dating trope. I am not one of them. If you're gonna date, date for real. Anyway, so that's the thing. I will say this for Jenny Han. I'm probably never gonna get rid of the book, despite the fact I hate it, because your covers are gorgeous. These ones, not the new ones. New ones piss me off. I have the other two books, one in hardback, one in paperback, because I wanted to get them in paperback because I didn't care enough to get them in hardback. And then I couldn't find the second book in paperback unless I bought the box set, and I already had the other two, so why would I do that? So I had to order the hardback. I mean, it was only $9 because I got off Book Depository and special, but yeah. So the next book is called P.S. I Still Love You, and if you've read this, I don't think it was brought up in the film from what I remember, you know why. I have zero desire to read it. And if she ends up with that dude, I have even less desire. So, I'm sorry to all of you that love this series, but I am probably never going to finish it. I'll keep them because the covers are really pretty, and I know that's a stupid reason to keep it, and also to bring it up when I'm like, this is the sort of book I don't like, so that people know. Okay, another book I read this year. I read this with my best mate, kind of. We both started reading at the same time, but she's ahead of me because she's read the second one in the series, and I haven't read it yet. But that is Throne of Glass. Yes, I own all of the books in this series, and I've only read the first one. I know, shock horror. I did enjoy it, actually. I really enjoyed it, which I was surprised about because it is heavy on the romance. And, okay, there's spoilers in this video, obviously. Spoilers. I'll put that in the title so people are warned. But she's in a love triangle between these two guys, and I swear if at the end of the series she ends up with the freaking prince, I'm gonna be pissed, because I like the captain of the guard. Kale? I still don't know how to pronounce his name. But I did really enjoy it, and the action scenes were actually really cool, and the whole mystery of things, and like, the whole ghost of the past coming to talk to her, and then she's being descended from royal blood, I was just like, I'm liking this. I like this. So yeah, I actually really, really enjoyed this one, and I am looking forward to getting to the second one, which my friend told me I really like, because the couple we both want to get together gets together in the second one, and there is a few sex scenes, but I can deal. I've read fan fiction, so I'll be fine. So I'm looking forward to that, but something obviously is going to happen at the end of the book. She really wants to talk with me about it too, so I'm like, I need to read this so we can talk about it together. But I haven't. I've been reading Clockwork Angel at a snail's pace, so. Okay, next book I read is Professor Gargoyle, Tales from Lovecraft Middle School, Book 1. This is definitely a middle grade or even younger series, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I want to get the next 3. Sadly, there's only 3. There's illustrations in this too, which is always fun. And I feel like if I discovered this when I was a kid, I would have adored it. Like, it would have been up there with Spiderwick for me. So I really want to read the other ones, because I actually really, really enjoy this sort of thing. It's really short, really fun, and I'm looking forward to reading the next string when I eventually order them. Because sadly, I have tried here in Australia, but they don't exist here in Australia. They can't even special order them, so I can only get them on Book Depository. And I've said before, but when I buy books online, it takes me longer. Okay, next one. You guys know I've read this, because I did a book talk for it, and that is Trials of Apollo, Book 4. Now, this I was able to read in the way that I love to read books. This was a marathon. I just read it all at once. That is how I prefer to read books, and this reassured me that I can still read books like this. They just have to grab me. If they don't grab me, and I'm not enjoying you very much, Afterlight, then no, I'm not going to read you in a marathon. But I still can, and I didn't put this down until I'd finished it, and it was so good, so good. And it made me cry, it made me shout in victory, it made me almost have a panic attack. Not literally, but I was panicked. Rick Riordan, you've done it again. This book was amazing, and I can't wait for your next 2 coming out next year. So, rest assured there'll be book talks for those, even for the little one, because I read the little ones, because I'm the type of person that really enjoys those. You would not believe how many times I've read Quidditch through the ages. Okay, another book you may know that I've read if you follow me on Instagram is The Hobbit. I did the audiobook, sadly the abridged version, but I read it along with this edition of the book because this edition is gorgeous. It has illustrations by Tolkien himself. And I really just enjoyed listening to it again and just reminding myself of the true Hobbit story, not the film one, because I got so much wrong, or they expounded on it. Like, the whole thing with Gandalf, we knew he went off, we did not know why in the books. And that was reconfirmed in this. And I got to listen to my favourite scene. My favourite scene since I was a little tot. Or at least little enough to listen to it. And that is the spider scene, which forever will upset me in the Hobbit films, because they had 3 films. So don't tell me it was time constraints. They could have gotten it perfect. They didn't. And I will be forever upset and insulted, because that was my favourite scene ever with Bilbo Baggins. It was amazing, it was wonderful, it was perfect. Focus. There we go. Amazing, it was wonderful, it was perfect, and they didn't do it. We got the stupid thing with the ring and the scorpion, and it was, ugh. Okay, the next book I haven't finished yet, but I got about halfway through, I think, and I am really enjoying it, and I'm finding it fascinating, the way the person's doing it. It's also made me think I need to read Paradise Lost. And that is The Dark Powers of Tolkien by David Day. This is not an official Tolkien book, to my sadness, but it is still really cool, and it said something that I didn't realize at first, and one of my friends looked at me like I was nuts. He's like, "You didn't know?" And I'm like, well, no, it's not the first thing to jump to my mind. And that Sauron is a Maya, or Maya. like Gandalf and Saruman. And yet he seems to be so much stronger. I'm like, if he's a Maya, then Gandalf should be able to smote his ass. But no, we have to destroy a ring to do it. So, yeah. But it's fascinating because it's delving into, like, the history of everything. So, like, the War of the Jewels and all of that. So it's really cool. And it seems to have the same artist, or at least some of it. Like this one that you get in the ERAGON book. So that made me happy. Because anything to do with ERAGON makes me happy unless it's the film. Do not judge the book by its film. It should be a mantra. Anyway, so this is really good. I do recommend reading it if you love Lord of the Rings and just want extra detail and how you think Tolkien came up with his things, because it talks about it, like, it goes into how he thinks Tolkien came up with the ideas and how he was influenced by the fact that he was a Christian. Because yes, Tolkien was a Christian. So, yep. It's really, really good, and I recommend it. And I can't wait to read all the other ones in the series. Along with all the other Lord of the Rings books I have to read. Another book I read was 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. I did a book talk for this, so you already know that I've read it and you know my thoughts. I thought it was good, but not like 5 out of 5 stars. Maybe 4, 3.5 out of 5 stars. So, it was good. And I've watched the show. And the show kind of went along with the first season, kind of went along with this, but it took a lot longer to listen to the tapes. In that, he does it one night. Okay. The next 2 books I'm going to put together because I got them together and I can't believe I didn't know these existed. I didn't know until I read something somewhere that told me, and I'm like, how did I not know these existed? How did I not own them? How did I not have them growing up? Because I thought I had all the Del Toro books I needed. I was wrong. There are these 2. The Tales of Del Toro and The Secrets of Del Toro. And honestly, I think these are the best books I've read this year. And you're probably going to be like, what? You've been reading books like Clockwork Angel and Throne of Glass and The Fourth Trials of Apollo, and these are the best books? What can I say? Nostalgia hits hard. I grew up with Del Toro, and if I had these books when I was a kid, woo boy, you best believe I've been living my best life. So, and something I love about these, it's like with J.K. Rowling's books, they're written from the perspective of characters that we already know and love. So these books are written, obviously by Emily Rhoda, but by the character. So Tales of Del Toro actually got me really excited because it's mentioned in the 4th book, and I'm like, I would love to read that. Joseph, the librarian, one of my favourite characters in the entire series, has written this, and I love it. Though I will say it does not look like how it was described in the book, because in the book it was described as a small blue book, so I imagine the same size as my Hobbit book, but blue. But other than that, it's wonderful. You've got, oh, this gorgeous map, and all these gorgeous illustrations, and it just tells the history of Del Toro, or the Land of Dragons, as it was known before it got the name Del Toro, which explains the name, because Del Toro is named after the 2 major cities in the Land of Dragons, Del and Tora. Del Tora. And there's that whole magical pathway between the 2 cities. So I love that, and it just highlighted the lesson that I swear Emily Rhoda wants beaten into our heads, is those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Because there's literally like the final story, which is of the masked ones, I think. Yeah, Balam of the Masked Ones, I swear. It was just like reading Doom and Eden's story all over again. I know his name was Jared, whatever, but I know him as Doom because that's how we meet him as. Anyway, it was just like their story all over again, because Balam was the brother of the king, and he was making sure that his brother always wore the belt of Del Toro, which obviously the advisors didn't like because that keeps the Shadow Lord out of Del Toro, and so they managed to frame him for a murder attempt, I think. And that's how they first get their claws in. And Balam starts the masked ones because he was a wanted criminal. And that also explains why Leaf looks so much like the son of the masked ones. Because they're related! They have the same ancestors. So that was just like, whoa. And just learning about the Land of Dragons, and it tells the story of the Shadow Lord and how he came to Deltora and the Shadowlands. And you're just like... And how he first managed to get the Pan Pipe broken so he was able to turn Param into the Shadowlands. And you're just like... How do you do this, Emily Rodder? This is amazing! And the second one is Secrets of Deltora, and this is written by Doran, the Dragon Lover, who's someone that we meet in the third book in the third Deltora quest series, but it's someone that you've heard constantly about since he's really well known as being a bit of an eccentric, because he's known as Doran the Dragon Lover, and no one in Deltora loves dragons. But it's got like this really, really awesome map. And he talks about all the different tribes and the different places in Deltora that you go to, and the dragons, and it's got like a hidden code in it because Doran was trying to warn the current prince at the time, and he managed to stop this book from being destroyed by getting like a really famous artist to do all of the paintings, which was clever of him, but sadly, because of that, the artist, was killed shortly after because whatever reasons. This was put as a priceless artifact that no one can ever read because it's his last artistry thing, so the prince still never read it, which was really sad, because if he'd read it, a lot of things could have been avoided. But it just talks about everything in it, and just about the magic in the land itself, like in the forest, okay, if you want to start a fire, right, you gotta get the exact right place. And if you pick up a piece of wood and it falls from your hand like 3 times, it does not want to be set on fire. So you do not set it on fire unless you want the land itself to be mad at you. So it's got stuff like that, and it goes into the Radlands and just all of the people of Deltora and their customs and what you should do when you go to certain areas and to do with their cultures. So like there's one area, I can't remember where, but if you're not wearing good luck charms, they won't like you. Because they are a culture that heavily believes in good luck charms, so if you're not wearing any, they don't trust you. Because you don't have any good luck charms on you, you're bad luck. And it just goes into all of them, and it's wonderful and amazing. And I carry this with me around like I used to the first Harry Potter book, because I just read it whenever I get bored, because you can never learn too much. Like this. It's the Radland language. The sign language, because stupid Fagin muted them forever. Anyway, so with these two, I have the complete collection except for the colouring book, but I don't need the colouring book. Because I didn't know they existed, because I thought it was just this one. Deltora Book of Monsters. So, but this I've had since I was a kid, and I've reread and read it so many times. Okay, there are 2 other books that I've read that I forgot to put in the piles. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm back, and I'm just gonna get this book out carefully, slowly. So, I read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone Illustrated Edition while listening to the audiobook read by Stephen Fry, and it was a magical experience and just reminded me of how much I love this series, and I'm hoping to do the same with the next 4 illustrated books. But it is like a whole marathon. Those books are long. Anyway, so it was so good. It reminded me, like, the 3rd chapter in the series, Letters from No One, is just, like, so funny. so funny. Alright. Another book I read is Never Fade. This is the second, by Alexander Bracken. This is the 2nd book in the Darkest Minds trilogy. But, yeah, so I've got a whole thing on my Instagram with my thoughts on this. By the end of it, I was in tears. Though that seems to be a trend, because I was in tears at the end of Darkest Minds, and I couldn't get myself through beyond chapter 3 in the Afterlight, because my grief. They kept bringing it up. It was like rubbing a sore spot, and I was like, no one is happy. I don't feel like reading this right now. Very depressing. Alright, the next, I actually have 3 other books to show you, and I'm not sure if I read them this year or last year. I'm having trouble remembering, but you'll notice there's a gap in my shelf because I took them out. And that is the Dragonology series by Dougal A. Steer. I've owned the first book since I was a child. Since I was really, really little. And I've always loved it, and I wanted to read the other ones, but we lived in Africa, so I couldn't get a hold of them. So this year, or last year, it might be more like, I finally set out to get them. And I was really, really upset because these books come in these gorgeous hardbacks. Look at this. They're so pretty. They're so cool. But for the life of me, I went scouring everywhere. Could not find the 4th book in the gorgeous hardbacks. So I have it in the stupid paperback that doesn't even look like it belongs. Anyway, I read these and they were just as enjoyable as I thought they would be. I really, really loved them. And I was so happy that I finally got to read them. I remember reading the second one in the library once. I was able to borrow it. But I had never gone any further, and I always wanted to know what happened. So I marathoned these in like a couple of days. Yeah. So if you enjoy middle grade series about dragons, I recommend. Though the ending will make you cry. So a trend happens in it that seems to happen in all dragon books, with the exception of Harry Potter, but I don't think that one counts. And that is, you obviously already know this is a spoiler thing, so I don't feel bad about telling you this. That is, the dragons go into hiding. They leave the humans and go into hiding. And I'm like, first ERAGON, then How to Train Your Dragon, and now this! And now I think about it, I definitely read this last year. But whatever, I'm including it because I really, really enjoyed them. And I don't think they get enough attention. I will be doing book talks for these again at some point. Because, like I just said, I don't think they get enough attention because everyone focuses on the big, bad Dragonology book that everyone gets. And I remember finding this in the library and recognizing it because Dragonology, it matched the first one, which is also red. And I remember crying because my parents would not buy it for me. Yeah. I threw a huge wobbly because my parents would not buy me this book. So I bought it for myself, so I now own it. Ha! But, yeah. So, this series is really, really good. It's middle grade, but it doesn't detract from the awesomeness. And, yeah, if you know where I can get the 4th book in hardback, please let me know, because this is driving me slowly crazy. Because, don't get me wrong, the hardback is still really pretty and gorgeous. But, look, compare. It doesn't look like it belongs. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people who my books have to match or I will scream. Which is part of the reason why I'm rebuying all of the Rick Riordan books in hardback. Because then they will all match. Including size. Because my Heroes of Olympus books kind of match, but then Blood of Olympus is just bigger than the other ones. And it's the same with Magnus Chase. The first book is smaller than the other 2, and I'm like, ah! So, yes, I think that's it. That's all the books I read this year. If I've forgotten any, I am very, very, very sorry. But, yeah, I did not read a lot of books this year. Because I read fan fiction instead and watched TV. I'm hoping next year will be a better book reading year, but I'll probably be busy with studying and work. So we'll see. We can live in hope that I finish it. That I have better reading. Because I really want to finish that, and then finish The Throne of Glass, and then start the Scythe trilogy, and that's like 20 books right there. So, we'll see what happens. There's 2 Rick Riordan books coming out next year, so you can guarantee I'll read those all in one go. Oh wait, there is one other book I read this year. This one! Magnus Chase, 9 from the 9 Worlds. Because that came out this year, didn't it? I swear it came out this year. And that says 2018. Did we not get a first book? We might have only got a Ron Rick Riordan book this year. That's really sad. I don't remember when I got this. Either way, it's really good. I recommend reading it if you love Magnus Chase. Because it doesn't have much Magnus, but it's got everyone else and Thor's being hilarious. Like, this is meant to be Thor, but trust me, he is not wearing this outfit. Anyway, so maybe I read this year? I don't know. I'm gonna start keeping a track of all the books I've read. I will do that. Okay, so, yeah, I'm back. I nearly forgot to do this book, which I can't believe I nearly forgot. Like, goodness, I rewatched the video and saw it in the video, and I was like, how did I forget you? And that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. True love isn't always diplomatic, and I love this book. I've done a book talk for, like, part 1, where I swear I didn't even cover half of my feelings. Then I got distracted and I haven't done part 2, so I may have to reread this and just do another book talk, because I adore this so much. It read like a fan fiction, so that means that automatically I adore it, because I love fan fiction, and it was LGBTQ, which is always lovely to read, and yes, it was a romantic story, but it didn't read like a typical romantic story for me. I was able to invest more in the characters, and I found the whole politics of the situation fascinating, and I got really mad at certain people, like the Queen in this one, because this Queen ain't no Queen Elizabeth. I don't know who she is, but she ain't no Queen Elizabeth. So, yeah, and the story of the first son was fascinating, and just how they got to know each other and realized that, no, they didn't actually hate each other. And, oh, it's just such a good book. And if you love those sorts of reads, or you're just looking for a good, fun story, I recommend this. I cannot recommend this enough. There's tons of references in it. Like, I'm pretty sure they reference Harry Potter at least 5 times, which is brilliant. And just all of the characters are amazing in it. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book. 5 out of 5 stars. One of the best books I've read this year. And I'm so glad I enjoyed it. I was a bit worried at first it would go the way of To All the Boys I Loved Before. But instead it went the way of Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda, which is another sort of romantic, but I don't really count it as one, that I adore. So, it's so good. It's so good. Also, the cover's really got a really nice feel to it. Yes, this is in paperback, not hardback, but I don't think there's a hardback for it yet. But if this author does another book, I'm probably going to read it, because this was just so good. Anyway, so I think that's all of the books I've read this year. I really hope I haven't forgotten any other ones. I'm glad I managed to catch that one before I posted. Okay, this should be the last update to this video, because I give up after this. If I've forgotten any more books, we're gonna have to live with it. And, okay, wow. So, it's gotten really hot, so I've had to close the blinds to try and cool my room down. So my light is on, and my hair is now super reflective. Enjoy. Also, I've not changed outfits, I've just removed the straps, because like I said, it's gotten hot. Okay, so, the other books I have to show you are all from the same fandom. Ugh. That is Game of Thrones. So, first off, I haven't completely read this yet, but I've read a lot of it. It is George R.R. Martin's The World of Ice and Fire. This is the one I read last. And it is quite fascinating, to be honest, because it goes into all of the histories and how the world was formed, and it's also how I figured out that Tywin Lannister married his own cousin, and so did one of the Starks. I think it was Ned Stark's grandfather did. So it's really not that unusual in Game of Thrones. This whole cousin thing that has everyone flipping out about, I'm like, it's been done before, okay? And it's been official, so I don't really get why you're flipping. Sibling, yes, but to be fair, the Targaryens have been doing that since the dawn of Targaryenism. Okay, then we have Game of Thrones, the Noble Houses of Westeros seasons 1 to 5, so it is severely out of date. Like, it was severely out of date even when I was reading it. I had to mentally correct things in my head because it said that formerly it was the House Seat of Winterfell, because when this book was written, Ramsay was still in control. And I was like, okay, yeah. Not true, it's back in the House Seat of Winterfell, the Starks. So this is okay, but honestly, it's overpriced. Because look, there's not that much detail. That's it. Honestly, I was rather disappointed when I got it. I was like, that's all? You're not giving me anything else? Really? But these next two are my absolute favorites, and they are amazing, and they're honestly what persuaded me to really get into Game of Thrones. It's inside HBO's Game of Thrones. Wind, can you cut it out? Thank you. They are wonderful and marvelous, and sadly, I've gone hunting. They've only got, this one is seasons 1 to 2, and this one is seasons 3 and 4, and that's all they've got. We've only got these two. But they haven't done the other seasons, and I'm like, do them! Might be the only redeeming feature about season 8. But it's just got all these extra information, and it's a good way, especially since I got The World of Ice and Fire, to compare the TV show to the books. And it's honestly just utterly fascinating, because it does interviews with the cast and talking about how they did things. So you really just learn so much about the background and how the cast chose to play them. And we've got my bae, Brienne of Tarth. And in this one, which is the one I actually got first, it goes into her fight with the Hound and how epic that truly was, and her friendship with Jaime, and just it's just beautiful. I love it. It's so much. Oh, and it explains the faith of the Seven as well in this, because you've got that whole thing with the wedding. Wait, look. Ran. Yes, I'm a huge shipper of them, and one of the reasons why I don't like season 8. You can go die in a hole. Sorry about the banging. Apparently people have come home. And they're banging the door shut, or the wind's banging it for them. Either way. It should be less loud now. But that is it. If I've forgotten any other books that are just going to have to deal with it, I'm not including them. So, yeah. And also, I just realised there was one other, but I packed it. So, I definitely can't include it. And it's alright. It wasn't... It's Harry Potter's Calling All Witches thing. It's really good, but if you saw my book haul video, I explained the problems with it. But if you like Game of Thrones and you want more background information, get these two beauties. They are lovely and marvellous, and I'm going to be very sad when I pack them away because I want to keep them out. But they're so heavy. I cannot justify taking this on the plane. Okay. But do not get this one. It's a waste of money. Sadly. And also the paper's not very nice. Like, yeah, it's got a family tree, but so do these. And this is a really detailed family tree. Like, wait, let me see if I can find one to show you. Also some really cool, oh, look at this. Woo! Yeah, if you like Game of Thrones and you just want more background information like I did, get this book because it gives you all of the background information you could want. Well, a lot of the background information. It does not give enough information on House of Tarth in my book, but yeah, we can't have everything. Come on. Okay, it's got maps in it. Look at this, it's the Riverlands. Or Riverlands, or however you pronounce it. Now, in each section it will have the main house, so House Tully, and then all of its bannermen. I'll talk about them. We've got the Vale. Okay, we don't have friggin' things, but I know we have one for the north. I swear we have one for the north. And I know we definitely have one for the Lannisters. Where are my family trees? Aha! There we go. Targaryen lineage. Though I don't think this is Jon Snow in it. It does not. Because spoilers! But yes, it's worth it for that alone, because, oh, you learn a lot about this. And there's House Stark, and there's Lannister, and then that's about all they've got. They don't do all of them, they've just got those three. Sadly, we don't have House Tully or any of the others. I wouldn't mind one of the Dorns, purely because there's not enough information. Ugh. Because out of all the things in Game of Thrones, the one I know the least about is definitely Dorne. All I know is they left out a character called Sorella Sand, and she sounds awesome, because she literally disguised herself as a man to study the Citadel. I'm just like, yeah! The power of books. Anyway, it's getting really hot in here with the door closed, so I'm going to end this video here, and I've just added another 9 minutes or so to this video. It's going to be a very long video. But I hope you enjoyed this. There's a link to my last video here. And there'll be links throughout this video to previous videos. And yeah, that's all the books I read this year. And link to my Instagram down in the description because I did reference a lot in this video. And yeah. If you want me to do a deeper dive on any of these books, just let me know. I am perfectly happy to. It might have to wait till I get to Melbourne, but I'd be really happy to. Okay. Leave a like or a comment or maybe even subscribe and let me know what books you read this year or which ones were your favourites. I am genuinely curious. Or if you read any of my books and let me know your thoughts on them because I love to talk about books. Okay. Bye!